So as I sit here and edit this, I realize that there's no definition of the truck in this video. It's all in video one, the original video one, the brake video. So the reason we're doing this oil pan is the master cylinder went bad in the truck. They were trying to jack the truck up to get to the master cylinder. It fell off the jack or the jack stands or something, and the oil pan landed on the jack to the point where it pushed it into the crankshaft. That's why I'm doing all this work. I failed to mention that. I forgot that I didn't, It's been a very confusing video to do because one went to two went to one. So that's what the deal is here. Hey, back on, well, let me start that over. Welcome to Left 4 Dead Garage, where video 2 is now video 1 because the wheels have officially fallen off this project. The brake situation was going to be video 1. That's such a situation that is now video 2. And we're going on to video 2 for video 1. So what's video 1 now? That's the oil pan. We've got to try to get this pan off, and I hope that I have enough distributor room and up and down that I can slip the pan off. Most of the bolts are already out of the pan, which is a good thing. Gives me a little head start. But I'm going to go in here and get the rest of the bolts out, get the jack, get a 4x4 block, and try to go to the harmonic balancer. Put just a tad of tension on it. Pull these motor mount bolts. They are right there, as you can see, right here. Pull those bolts and see what happens. So I'll see you under the truck. All right, I got the motor mount bolts out of both sides, as you can see right here. Oil pan is loose. I'll roll out of here and put a little upward motion on this jack and see if we can get this oil pan out of here. All right, let's go check. I'll check that firewall. All right, we still got plenty of room there. Hose has got slack in it. Transmission lines are braided, so plenty of flex there. All right, I believe that is as much as I can go up. Because it just sounds like everything is, you know what I mean? That's as much as I can go. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now, this ain't good. To pull this pan, see, it's into the flex plate here, and I don't have enough swoop. I'm sure I'm way too close and you can't see anything. I don't believe it's going to come out of there. I don't believe it is. Let me fiddle with this thing for a minute. The darn Adams family. And maybe it's a two-hand deal. I'll get back to you. All right, it's a little snug under here. Got 6-ton jack stands under here, but it just ain't enough room. This pan is not coming out unless the motor comes out, or at least loose from the bell housing. And honestly, the easiest thing, because right now it's got that big low car shifter, and that's into the floor. Like, I cannot possibly jack this thing up anymore because it's into the floor. So the best thing that I can figure is I'm gonna have to pull the flex plate. So the transmission, pretty much might as well say, I could put it on the jack and maybe slide it back, but I mean, you're pretty much removing the transmission, because there's no way that this pan is coming out of there. Now, I'll still have to keep it up off the motor mounts, so I'll have to either, and I can't bring the cherry picker in from the side because the darn legs will be this way. So I need to bring them in from the front, that way I can work around them from the back. That makes sense. So therein lies another problem with this crazy hood, because you can't bring a cherry picker in from the front. Now, what I could do is go to the rafters with a piece of tubing up there, and I've got a chain fall that I could hook to it. Anyway, I could come from the rafters if need be. I'd rather not do that, but I want to take this hood off. But I'll be honest with you, I don't think this pan is coming out of here with that flex plate on that crank. And that is the shortest oil filter I think I've ever seen on a small block Chevrolet. Wow. Anyway, yeah, that is a dilemma. That is dilemma number 2. So, what that means is I need to make a phone call. I need to let the owner of this truck know that this has snowballed in every which way it possibly can, from the brakes to this oil pan situation. So, I mean, it's got to be fixed. I guess I could stick it back together, you know, if you don't want to do it right now, and take the truck back to him. But so I'm gonna stick the motor mounts back, the motor mount bolts just back in, set the motor back down, get the tension off everything, and then I'm gonna make a phone call.
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S. Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away. Competition Product, race parts sold by racers since 1970.
All right, back on the 53 Ford. Was out of town for a couple of days. Had some time to think about this. So we got to pull this pan. Or do we? Maybe we can fix the pan. Hopefully. Because the transmission has to come back, has to come loose and back. Flex plate has to come off. And then the motor still has to come up. Well, this hood, I really want to try to avoid taking this hood mechanism off, because I can't bring the cherry picker in from this side because I need to work that way. I could always come from the rafters with a chain fall. I don't know. It's just a situation, and it's a lot of labor hours. One, I don't really have time to do it. I want to make the money, but at the same time, you know, I'm trying to save my buddy a little bit of money, you know. So, this is what I got. I'm going to attempt to pull the dents out of it. I found this classy unit here on eBay, and it looks like it's probably older than I am. So, this thing originally made in Canada. I actually Googled it. It's still made. The funny part is, it's made in Mooresville, North Carolina. Well, the company is based out of Mooresville, North Carolina now. It's like 45 minutes up the road. I don't really know the age. Like I said, it's an antique. But for the price, I couldn't beat it. And I kind of sort of need one for the 55. I borrowed one when I did my youngest boy's S10. But I kind of have a rule on things. If I need it more than once, if I need to borrow it more than once, then I need to own it. And that was instilled in me many years ago at my first wrench job. So 20 some years ago, that stuck with me. If I need it more than once, then I need to own it. So we now own one. But yeah, stud welder, it's for pulling dents. Clearly there's dents over there. Maybe with any luck it'll work. So I'm going to get set up, get me some lights, get me a drop cord. Funny thing is, that thing pulls so many amps. I had the fan running over here trying to blow the leaves out of the carport. With the fan running and all the lights on, I plugged in, hit the button, I tested it out on some exhaust tubing, boom, tripped a breaker. So can't have anything with the lights on because that nuclear reactor in that thing apparently draws some amps. So let me move the jack, drag out some lights. Need to bolt the pan back to the block. Let's see if we can find the bolts. I really need to vacuum this thing out because it has got mega rat turds. So we got some pan rails. There's the new pan. Well, let me dig around in here and see if I can find these bolts, and I'm gonna get everything set up, and I'll see you on the truck. All right, kind of got it buffed out. I don't really know what this, that must be like a rivet or something for maybe that little windage tray in there. Hopefully that's okay. It doesn't come loose. There's some more little, you can see some spot welds in here. Hopefully it's not hitting the windage tray. But I was thinking it was more back in here on that stock pan. Well, I've got a stock pan, a new in the box stock pan over here. I guess I could look, but let's just go ahead and see what we can do. I want to work this area right here first. Hopefully this works. Because if not, we'll have problems. Now this stud thing, I think this is an extension, which I don't really guess I needed, but I'm gonna try it anyway. So there's one. The newer one, that one I borrowed, had a button down here instead of, but it is awkward to hold, let me tell you. I'll do another one. Maybe put 4 on it, see what it does. This thing's a little big. I don't know if I can. All right, let's see what happens. Well, it's pulling it. That's fine. It can break off. No big deal. Let's go to the next one. This one I got hot. I guess I ground it out beside of it, so it may break off. It's definitely pulling the dent out. It may pull a hole in the pan. If it does, we'll weld it up. All right, no big deal. Well, it's getting there.
Need to take some wire dikes and cut the heads of those off. That way I can work along this seam here. It'd be nice to have some, like, they have like the finger kind of pullers where it pulls in like multiple points at the same time, where it would pull this whole thing, you know, with one smack of the dead blow or the slide hammer. But let me get some wire dikes and nip these off. All right. Let's do another round here. And we'll go right there, I believe. I think it'll work. It's just going to be a little bit time consuming. And then eventually I'm going to have to, you know what? I think I'm just going to do them one at a time, because, you know, that one kind of ground it out. All right. That made progress. I'll probably have to get the flap wheel and buzz that off. Well, I mean, I know I will, but let's go right beside of it. Yeah, just keep working it along this little dent here and try to get that out. But I probably need to go in here and grind these off first. That way I can get a better, because you got to ground out that tip. That's how that thing works. Let me put a couple more. Let me do a couple more, see what it does, like over here in this corner. But slowly it's working. Let's go right here. That made a good difference. I got the old nuclear reactor here plugged into my fan as my drop cord, and it'll trip the circuit breaker in the fan if I'm not careful. We're definitely getting somewhere. We'll try one right here. Oh. It's working. It's working. All right, got this pretty well pulled out. I don't know how many it took. I feel like my arms are gonna fall off now. But yeah, it looks better than it did. I'm gonna take the flap wheel and grind these off right quick and see how it looks. I can live with that. That looks fine. Worry about this one and this crease right here, which is all the way across actually. So need to worry about that, and probably have to get in there somehow and try to pull that too. But yeah, get this crease here, and we'll grind this and see how it looks. Well, I can get it with the little Ziz wheel, the 1-inch flap wheel, a little bit better, but honestly, I'm gonna leave this. I'm done with that. I think we'll work on this seam right here now, and then worry about this one. So let me jump in there and see what I can do with that one. All right, well, I'm gonna continue on running double rows on down to about right here, and let's see what it'll do. All right, it's the next day. Couldn't leave well enough alone, so I fiddled with this some more. I really wanted to get this out. I will eventually grind those out of there, but I don't feel like dragging the air hose out right now because my air compressor is not in my building. It's in my Connex, so I have to open the Connex, and it's raining, so you know. I got more of this dent out, got more of this out, more across through here and more here, but not here. But it doesn't look as bad. I don't know how it looks on camera or to you, but it really doesn't look as bad, or definitely looks better than it did. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I did spin the flex plate, and I heard nothing hit. So tonight, I'm going to drop this old pan, get this front gasket and rear gasket out, try to get all that cleaned up as much as possible, and see if I can get this gasket back in here. So let me get situated, and we'll see what we can do. Alrighty, back at it down here this evening, trying to round up all my lights. I'm trying to get this oil pan gasket on tonight as I hook. Crap. Now, what's the odds of that? Try that all night long again, and it would never work. But yeah, we'll try to get this oil pan gasket on there tonight. I got it pretty well cleaned off last night. I pulled the starter so I could get up in there real good. Pulled the oil filter, got a new oil filter, got oil. He had bought a one-piece pan gasket, but I can't get the one piece in there because I'm not taking the pan all the way off. No way I could shoot it under there, underneath, you know, the pickup and all that. So let's go with the old 4-piece gasket. Let's just take a little moment here and say a little prayer that this old pan doesn't leak. You know, just pray to the hot rod gods, something, because it's still not a lot of room under there to even get this pan down enough to get my hand in there to clean and whatnot. I'm giving my best. That's all I can do without doing major work, as far as pulling the transmission back, pulling the flex plate off, and then still having to pick the motor up enough to get the pan out of there. Well, let's get to it. All right. So the thicker rubber goes in the front, like so. So what I'm gonna try to do, I mean, I got all the silicone for the most part cleaned out of here. A little bit won't hurt it. Put me a pretty good amount in the corners on each side, and then a hefty glob here, and then go to the back and do the same, and then try to put a little dab on the rail just so I can get the gasket to stay put. So this is I normally wouldn't use silicone to this amount, but in this situation I'm kind of in a pickle because of the setup. So that's how I'm going to do it. Gotta get some light over here. And I really need this rubber to stay put in there while I work on the rest of it. So I really need it to not fall out during this ordeal. So I'm gonna smash her in there. You know, I may trim the corners off the gasket. I don't know yet. I guess I should have test fit it, but we're just going for it. I'm just going for it. Not real sure how much you can see up in there. But I don't have a whole lot of room to get my hand in there, or the silicone for that matter. So it kind of worries me. What I'll do is I'll put a good amount in these corners right here, and then I'll put it on the actual rubber. And I'm sure my arm's all in the way and you can't see what I'm doing, but right now I'm just putting silicone on the block, and then I'll just silicone the rubber itself as I drop it and get it all over me. Alright, let's see if we can fish this thing up in there. You know, the gasket's supposed to go under that lip on that rubber, so I may have to try to silicone the gasket to the block. Maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna try it, stick it to the pan, and see if that works. I sure hope it does. Trying to save him some money and not pull all this stuff apart and do it this way. And then I'm just so afraid that it's going to leak anyway. And then here we are doing it again. So, taking a chance here. Not really wanting to take a chance, but I ain't believing this. So this is a crate motor, and it will do driver's side or passenger side dipstick. This oil pan gasket set is one or the other. Oh, Lord have mercy. So that means I get to wipe all this silicone out of here before it dries and buy another oil pan gasket set. Great. All right. Let me get to cleaning up and maybe go back to O'Reilly's tonight. All right. Hopefully we can get this dang oil pan on today. Went and bought another oil pan gasket. I searched and searched for someone local that stocked a pan gasket with the double provision. No go. And then we had Thanksgiving yesterday, so everything was closed. So I ran and got this morning. So what's going to have to happen is, thank goodness I got most of the, let me get this. Thank goodness I got most of the silicone off this gasket. So I'm going to have to reuse this gasket and then use this gasket to make this work. Had this been my truck, the gaskets that were on it came off pretty good shape. I would have probably just reused them. This is not mine, so you got to do it as best as I possibly can, because it's not mine. You know, that one-piece gasket would have worked, but I just can't fish it through there because you have to go in and under the pickup. And then actually, I got to thinking about it on the way home a while ago, because I was almost irritated enough to where I'm just like, I'm just gonna pull the transmission. I got to thinking about this oil pan. This oil pan wouldn't have worked either because it doesn't have the dual provisions. So, well, you know. Let's get under here. Let's get under here and see what we can do. Hopefully it's warm enough in here. It was only low 40s when I got in here. Fresh tube of silicone. Hopefully that stuff doesn't flow like peanut butter. And let's get the gluing. All right, hopefully the heater over there in the corner isn't making too much racket. And actually, I'm going to do this a little different. I'm going to glue the gasket to the block because it does have to go underneath the rubbers, especially in the front here. So I'm going to have to work pretty quickly and make sure this rail is extra oil free so the silicone will stick. But I think that's my plan. So I guess it's kind of good things didn't work out the other night. Alright, hopefully gravity doesn't fight us on that plan right there. It looks like they're all lined up. I'm gonna cut this one open, and I'm gonna reuse the rubbers out of this one because it was just too hard to get that stuff cleaned out of those others. Alright, let's see if I can get back in here. This is the worst part. It is so tight trying to get up in between the flex plate and this oil pan, but might not be so bad with this tip on the matter of fact, what I do with it, I may just put it on the, I think that's how I did it last time, and I just kind of fished it up in there. Try to wipe some on the bottom side of that seal up in there. Normally I wouldn't glue both sides, but given this situation, too bad. I'm gonna do that one. I'm gonna do this one too. So. All right. I think we're ready. We're not ready. All right, so it's up there. Now I'm gonna start hustling and getting these smaller bolts in. I don't know if I'm gonna do a started in this video or not. I think the video is entirely too long now, so definitely gonna pull the spark plugs out of it and spin it over. Probably could just pull the distributor and prime the motor. That would probably be the safest thing, to be honest with you, because been sitting with no oil in the pan for who knows how long. I'm sure that pump is bled oil, or that pickup's bled oil out of it, so it's probably could use to be primed. Alright, got that side in. And somebody's gonna see this oil pan and think, what hack worked on this? Or to write a link to the video on the bottom of the oil pan. If you're wondering about this oil pan, go here. Alright, let's get these things snugged up. And honestly, it probably needs to sit a little while before I go cranking on it, especially in this situation. I'll go back with the ratchet and hand snug those up. All right, I'm gonna get the oil filter, I'm gonna fill the filter and then stick it on. Let's wipe this all off. Shoo. All right, well, the pan's on. Let's just see if it runs. I feel like if it ends up being too long a video, then I'll just cut it out, but I think that'd be a good way to wrap this video up. So, all right, I should probably hurry because my memory card's getting full. It does have an electric fuel pump. There's a random button on the dash. You actually have to hit the button to make the pump work. It does have gas in it. I spun it till it had oil pressure. We're just gonna try it. Let's just see what happens here. That has got to be the slowest oil pressure gauge I've ever seen in my life.
did say there was problems with the cluster. I remember him saying that, like the speedometer didn't work. Things along that line. Turn the fans on in here. Trucks don't sound bad at all. And then the fan's straight wired, which is weird. I unplugged it to save voltage because the battery's dead as a hammer. And I have the jump box and the battery charger on it. I'm gonna let it get a little heat in it. That oil pressure sucks, man. 35, 36. It's slowly going up still, but that is pretty weird. Oh, I took the power steering belt off because I don't have the line on the rack. So I didn't want that to be a problem. So I just took the belt off. I still have to put the motor mounts and all that back together, but well, it runs. We'll see if it has leaks, and hopefully it doesn't. But I guess that'll do it for this video. The old Ford runs again. So get back on it. It'll be power steering line and figure out these brakes, the master cylinder issue, and see what else we run into. But thanks for watching Leopard Deck Garage. We'll see you later.